It is Wednesday, the 5th of February, 2025, and the European market has just opened. So not a good ending to yesterday's trading session. I had 4 losses in a row, but all of them were on mechanical entries, so sometimes you'll just have a series of bad trades and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm happy with all of my entries. I didn't force anything. Everything was executed according to plan. So we just have to move on and not let it affect us. That being said, I am going to focus on my planned entries for today. Every single trading day, I plan some entries ahead of time. I have a spreadsheet where I track several specific candles, and when those candles complete, I generally place buy and sell orders above and below them and wait for a mechanical fill. The first fill that I get, I keep, and the other order I end up deleting, and I place the stop loss where that deleted order was. So basically I bracket a specific candle. I go long above it when the price breaks above it, and short if the price breaks below it. And I have a spreadsheet where I track how many points every single entry makes or loses on every given day. So when one of them begins to streak and I see it making more points than it loses on a regular basis, I start taking them mechanically and religiously. And that is my edge. I know how well certain entries do at certain times and in certain periods. My theory that has been confirmed over time is that market acts in cycles, and when you discover a cycle, it can be very profitable once you start taking it mechanically each and every day until it goes cold again. So I'm placing a sell order below the first 5-minute bar. This is a bullish bar in the UK 100 and in this specific index. If you go short below the first positive 5-minute bar or go long below the first negative 5-minute bar, it is a profitable entry over time. This particular entry I've learned from a well-known trader called Tom Hugart. This is the first bar positive entry. I will use an 18-point stop loss, and I will let this order here throughout most of the day. We're quite far off this entry right now. It's 20-something points, but we can return to this area, no doubt. But until then, I will be focusing on my other entries. So another mechanical entry that I've taken a lot in the past few months has been off the second 5-minute bar in the DAX, putting up long order above and a short order below. This has finally stopped working last week and started having some rough consecutive days, so I decided to stop taking it while I reassess it. Now, the past few days it's worked well. I'm still not going to take it today or this week probably. I'm going to let it gather more data, basically just to see if it starts streaking again. And by streaking I mean it starts working regularly, almost daily. That's what I want to see. So I'll pause you for now, but I am waiting for the completion of the first 15-minute bar in the Dow and first 15-minute bar in gold. For the UK 100, besides this entry, I also want to enter off the break of the first 15-minute bar, but not if the bar is over 20 points. And we are at a 30-point bar currently, so this entry is invalidated for me. And I will wait instead for the completion of the second 15-minute candle in the UK 100 index. These are, again, all entries that I'm tracking constantly. And there are a lot of them that I'm tracking that you don't even know of because I never take them until they streak, and they haven't streaked yet, so they're not working right now. So to give you an example, I have an entry at 13:45 GMT time off the 15-minute candle in gold. So I would wait for that bar and enter long above or short below. Right now it is working well on the long side, but not the short side. So I might take it if the first fill is long. But that's quite far away from now. So I'll pause you and bring you back. I'm just going to observe price action. There's not going to be an entry until the first 15-minute bars complete here. But I will be watching the DAX to see what happens after the second 5-minute bar completes, as this is one entry that has worked very well in the past, and it is definitely going to work again sometime in the future, maybe even soon. And I'll start taking that daily again as well. But let's see for now. I'll pause you. Okay, so we have completed the second 5-minute bar in the DAX, and we would have been filled short here. So I'm just gonna mark out the second 5-minute bar, just so we see it. I'm gonna place this channel. The MT5 is really not great for visual graphics. So let's say this is my buy order and this is my sell order. We got filled short, and now my stop loss would be here, and I would be targeting at least 30 points, but more like 40 points probably. And I would be targeting this specific amount because this is what my research is showing, that this move returns when it works. So 40 points, at most 50 points, and you have some outliers like 90 points, 60 points, but those are rarer. So I would be targeting 40 points and maybe consider closing it at 30 something points if price stagnates. So 30 points would be pretty much at 370 here. So at 370, that would be our target. So I just want to visualize this for you. So this would be our target right here. Yeah, pretty much that. Obviously, I have not taken this entry because it just hasn't worked well lately. And even though the last 2 days it has worked, it's not enough to convince me that a winning cycle has begun again. So what I'm doing is definitely different from what you see most traders doing when trading. It is a method that I've researched quite a lot, and I do believe there is quite a clear edge in it. And with me tracking all the numbers, I can visually see these entries bringing profit over time, but the key is to avoid the bad cycles, so the cycles where the entry just doesn't work. And that is why tracking and entering the result of each day in a spreadsheet for easy access can help a lot to weed out the bad cycles where you should just avoid that entry altogether. So a few more minutes until we complete the first 15-minute bars, and I will bring you back then. So the first 15 bars have completed. I've placed the orders into Dow, and I have to be really fast with gold here because we are at the highs. probably have gotten filled there, but let me just check here. Yeah, that was a bit slow here. It's not that big of a bar. I could have probably gone with a higher stop loss, or the higher sizing, sorry. But yeah, sometimes have to just move faster. So we have a fill here. It is a long fill. Let's see. So in this entry, which is the break of the first 15-minute candle in gold, I've made 9 points, 14 points, 10 points, minus 5 points, 12 points, minus 2.8 points, 9 points, 7 points, minus 5, minus 2.5, 8.5. So I think an 8-point target is appropriate when we win. Obviously, we're at all-time highs here, so there's no structure to think about. There's no resistance above. So I will, let's say 7.5 points. Let's not be super greedy. 7.5 points is enough. Obviously, we've rallied a bit already today in the night. You could look already at this trend line here. So we can definitely have a retrace and get stopped out, but I'm following a mechanical strategy, so I'm going to take this every time without worrying about it. Still looking at the DAX here, we would be in the negative here, almost getting stopped out, but not quite. And waiting for an entry in the Dow. Let me just quickly check that I'm not missing any entries here. So the second 15-minute bar in the UK 100 is going to be relevant. I'm going to wait for that. And then I'm going to wait for the fifth 15-minute bar in the DAX. But I'm only interested in it if the first fill is long. So I will only place the long order. And if price breaks that candle to the downside, I will delete the long order because it will no longer be valid. So I'll pause you for now, letting these run. Let's just make this a bit bigger so we can see it better. Pulling a bit back here, it doesn't really matter. So risking $30 to make 75 in gold is nice. And waiting for a fill in the Dow here. Let's just for a second look at the daily time frame. It does kind of look like a double top, so we can definitely see some sort of a retrace here again. But at the same time, we could also make a higher high, of course. So I never really turn down any direction here. Whichever way we go, I'm confident we can make the points. It has been working in both directions, according to my research, so that's fine. Okay, so letting these run, and we would probably, we would have been stopped in the DAX had we followed the second 5-minute bar entry. And this is why I'm not taking it right now. It is not as reliable as I need it to be to start taking it daily. So good decision on my part there. And for the DAX, I'll now wait for the fifth 15-minute candle, so that's quite some way off. So the second 15-minute bar in the UK 100 will be next, and I'll bring you back then. So we have gotten filled long in the Dow here, immediately deleting the short order and dragging the stop loss in its place, so to 425 35 here. Let's go like this. So we're risking $47. And now I'm going to check my spreadsheet. So for the Dow Jones, you generally make around 60 points when you win on this entry. We've had some outliers of 100 points, and one time we had just 35 points. So I think that 60 points is a decent target here. Let's also look at the structure. What would 60 points look like? So 60 points would be here. Okay, so risking 46 to make 50, it's pretty much a 1-to-1. I don't want to go all the way up here. This is clearly an area of consolidation. There will be some selling pressure here. So I think targeting 60 points here is more than appropriate. I like that, so I'll leave it in. And yeah, now it's just a waiting game. I'm not gonna adjust stop losses, I'm not gonna do anything crazy, just gonna let things play out. The second 15-minute bar in the DAX would generally be an entry as well, but it just hasn't been reliable lately, so I'm waiting on that as well. I'm gonna delete these now. I think they've proved their purpose, just to help you visualize how I execute an order, but you're seeing it now in these actual orders. And just 5 more minutes until the second 15-minute bar is completed in the UK 100, and we will be placing orders off this candle, so I'll bring you back to that. So the second 15-minute bar has formed, and I placed a buy order above it and a sell order below. Using this sizing is fine because it is, let's see again, 78.6 to 66. So it's like a 12-point bar plus the cushions. It's basically 15 points. We've gotten some volatility here all of a sudden. Perhaps some news out. Let me just check. Nothing really right now, so I'm not sure what's causing this sudden volatility, but it doesn't bother me too much. We would be filled short on the DAX had we followed the break of the second 15-minute bar. Again, I explained why I'm not taking it. It's not really working right now, so just gonna monitor these positions now and these orders. We do have some news coming out, but it's nothing massive until a bit later on when we have ADP non-farm employment change 1 hour and 15 minutes before US market opens, so that's not really that relevant. It does look like we might get filled short in the UK 100 here. This might look a bit scary because we're just retesting. We broke out of Asia highs and we're retesting those highs. This definitely can act as support. So as you can see, we've just gotten filled here. So I need to remove the long order and place the stop here. So risking $36 is fine. And I'm actually gonna go for an ambitious target here. So I'm gonna go to the low of Asia session here, almost the full low. And I'm gonna keep this order in place because this is a completely different strategy, but if this gets filled, you would expect price to move even lower. However, for this entry, I think this is a proper target, and I'll treat this as a completely separate trade. So let's see when we get there, if we get there. Obviously, I'm going in different directions in the UK 100 and in the Dow, but I'm not too worried about that. The UK 100 specifically does have a mind of its own a lot of the times. So even looking at a higher time frame here, we can definitely keep going lower here. We kind of reached the higher end of this consolidation area here. So we could be pushing back lower to the opposite of extremity. But yeah, I'll manage these trades now, letting everything run, and we'll see how things evolve, and I'll bring you back for any interesting developments. So in the Dow here, we are going below the first 15-minute candle. You do want to see a reaction here now. Hopefully want to see buyers step in below this, just buying below the first candle. That would be confirmation that the buyers are in control here. If we close below here now, that probably isn't good news for us, but we'll see. And in the DAX, we have rated the lows here and rated the entirety of Asia session and are now pulling back into the range. Now a close back into the range here is a strong long trigger for me. But let's see. And gold is breaking out here, which is nice. $7.5 points, if I remember correctly. Yes, is the target, so we're halfway there. We do look quite weak in the indices though. This is why I'm not rushing to go long the DAX here, but I do think there is a possibility we go long here if I see a close now back into Asia range. There's definitely demand here. But I would like to see a bullish candle close on either the 5-minute or the 15-minute for confirmation. Because as of right now, we are quite bearish here, looking at the SPX and the Nasdaq. So we have closed below the first 15-minute bar, which isn't great. Trying to recapture now, but this doesn't look like the best price action you want to see. And we are trying to recover in the DAX, but I'll wait for a candle close. Might even be a 5-minute candle bar close here, back into the range, but I need to see strength here to be convinced that we're going back up. I'll monitor this entry and this possibility. I have no issues taking the DAX long and UK 100 short. They've been opposites a lot of the times, so it's not a problem. I'll pause you for now, but that's my thought process as of now. I'm gonna let another 4 minutes pass here until this 5-minute bar completes, and if it's a bullish close, I might be tempted to try a long position. But let's see. So the 5-minute bar has completed and I've immediately gone long here. I will obviously place the stop right below here. So normally if this works, you shouldn't revisit it really, but I'll give it a chance if it revisits to just double bottom. And now this is not a mechanical entry, this is a price action based entry where we rated the lows, went below Asia session, and then we went back into the range. So for this, I am generally targeting the highs of Asia session, but I'm not going to go to the absolute high. So I'm just gonna go to this level here. It's a 2-to-1 trade, risking 34 to make 64. I think this is an appropriate target. A lot of the times you won't see price go all the way back up. And to just get a higher chance of a strike here, of just hitting the TP, I will go a bit lower. I think this area is quite likely to get hit if we are to move back up. So I like this trade very much. And we are back in profit in the Dow as well, but this is going to get a bit more complicated, so this would require patience, because we now really need to invalidate this bearish candle. So we would need a close above it. If that happens, I'll be very confident that we hit TP. So let's see. My next entry would be off the 15-minute bar in the DAX. However, I'm not gonna add to it, I don't think. So we're at the 4th 15-minute bar now. Once this completes, the 5th would start. It's still quite a way off, so let's see what happens, and I'll actually just judge at that time. The UK 100 does appear to want to go lower, which is good for us. But let's see. It's time for patience now, so I'll bring you back a bit later, or when we have an interesting development that's worth showing you. So a little update here. The 5th 15-minute bar has completed, and it's probably gonna do a short trigger here, but I'm not interested. I would only have been interested in a long fill here. And actually, we haven't really gone below, but this is the outlook for right now. A bit of a complicated morning. A lot of weird price action, but the UK 100 trade is working really well. I am going to let this fill if we get here, and we'll hope that we do hit full TP here for the original entry. The other entries are a bit undecided, let's say now. This is obviously not looking good because we haven't managed to go back above this bearish candle. So there is a good chance we get stopped out of the Dow for minus 46 and the DAX for minus 34. I'm very happy with both entries. Obviously they're they fully respected my rules and my entry models, so whatever happens is completely fine. Gold was at a nice bit of profit, but we are retracing a bit now. Obviously we're at all-time highs. I'm prepared for anything as usual, but this is a very solid entry that has worked well recently, so one of my best ones actually. So if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world, and I'll probably go on a bit of a break now and return a bit later, so I will let these run and see what happens. If I get a fill here in the next 15 minutes, I will manually manage it, but I might just add a stop loss here now, so everything is set up. But yeah, I'll pause you for now and I'll bring you back a bit later and we'll see how everything unfolded. Back from my lunch break, and sadly we did get stopped out. I was hoping for a continuation after this pullback, but it wasn't to be. I decided to let the trade run, did not want to close it early, which is honestly pretty standard. Market has rallied further. I was also considering a long in the Dow after raiding London session, pretty much the same setup as with the DAX, but I just didn't want to basically put all my eggs in one basket on the long side. So I was fine with this trade. I closed it a bit early here. It was looking like it was starting to pull back maybe a low. It was close to a TP anyway. So I'm happy with that as well, even though the move continued. Obviously, can't anticipate that fully. And so pretty much a break-even morning. Maybe a little bit of profit actually, but yeah, good execution. Focused on my mechanical entries, and this was the result. I'm not looking to have any other entry until the US session unless the 1545 GMT plus 2 15-minute bar in gold breaks to the upside. I will go long in that situation. But other than that, that's it for the morning. I will see you in the US session with another list of entries. Let's hope we have a better session. Thank you.